We the People. We the People means so much more than just the opening lines of the preamble to the Constitution. Bulldogs Taking Action, in cooperation with City of Stowe, is excited to bring to Stowe the We the People exhibit from Kent State University. The exhibit, We the People, is a series of portraits of Northeast Ohio community members who also identify as refugees. The goal is to give a platform for their stories and journeys, and to invite many people, regardless of age, origin, language, or education, to learn about the experience of people who have come from other parts of the world to live in this community. The project includes people of different ages, ethnicities, and nationalities who have settled in Ohio near you. Each portrait is accompanied by a panel that outlines each person's journey and a message that they want to share. In this loom, Bulldogs Taking Action wants to share some background information about refugees and immigrants so that we can all better understand these messages.
Do you know the difference between the terms immigrant and refugee? An immigrant is someone who leaves their country voluntarily, typically because they are seeking new opportunities or looking for a better life. A refugee is someone who flees their country because of a situation that puts them at risk. This includes someone who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. Refugees are often given special protections in many countries, including the U.S., while immigrants may not be as welcome.
As you look at this multicolored map, you can see that refugees come from many different countries around the world. According to Amnesty International, in 2019, more than 2/3 of all refugees came from just 5 countries: Syria, Venezuela, Afghanistan, South Sudan, and Myanmar. Syria has been the main country of origin for refugees since 2014, and at the end of 2019, there were 6.6 million Syrian refugees hosted by 126 countries worldwide. The U.S. is one of the largest host countries for refugees.
What are some of the common characteristics of a refugee? As you can imagine, in the midst of a crisis, a refugee may have to leave quickly and can only take whatever they can carry. They may have to walk or whatever transportation they can find. They may not have any official paperwork with them. Amnesty International states that over half of the world's refugees are children. Bulldogs Taking Action had a speaker at our December meeting who told us about his experience as a refugee from Bhutan. He was forced to leave Bhutan in 1990 due to civil war. He and his family spent 20 years living in a refugee camp in Nepal before coming to the United States. This is actually fairly common. He told us that some people will stay in that camp indefinitely.
The Nations High Commission for Refugees is the lead agency for the United Nations to help the world manage refugee crises. These are some important definitions to understand. A refugee has been forced to migrate and avoid a potential threat of his or her life, and they cannot return in fear of persecution. An internally displaced person, IDP, is similar to a refugee, but they have not migrated across an international border. An asylum seeker is someone who has migrated to another country in hope of being recognized as a refugee. There's a lot that can cross over among these terms. For example, an internally displaced person may end up becoming a refugee if they later flee from their country. When they present at the border of a new country, at that point, they may be seeking asylum.
There is one additional category to understand. Climate refugees, also called environmental refugees, are people forced to flee by natural disasters or global warming. Even though they were forced to migrate, they are not entitled to the same protections as traditional refugees. This is an area of growing concern as millions of people are impacted by natural disasters, including flood, famine, fires, tsunamis, and hurricanes.
We wanted to spend the moment focusing on the particular refugee disaster that is currently in the news. Since the war in Ukraine began on February 24th, many millions of people have lost their homes and their lives. Almost 5 million people have fled Ukraine, with most of them going to Poland. Did you know that 90% of them were women and children? And another 7 million people are considered internally displaced person, trying to find safety in other parts of Ukraine. Over 2/3 of children in Ukraine have been forced to leave their homes, their schools, their friends, and even their families. Bulldog Takes Action encourages everyone to stand with Ukraine and do what they can to support people who are most affected by this war.
In Summit County, refugees who come to this area are supported in many ways by the International Institute of Akron. This agency provides education, employment services, interpreting and translating, legal services, social services, and refugee resettlement to hundreds of families and individuals from all over the world. BTA is proud to support the important work of the International Institute with our donation drive that will provide household goods directly to refugee families in our area. We also invite you to watch this brief video about the immigration from the UNHCR.
Words matter.
Words matter.
Words matter. These words matter.
Migrant.
Refugees.
A migrant chooses to move country.
Often to improve their life.
For education, work, family reunification.
They are free to return home.
And if they return, they still have the protection of their government.
A refugee is running for their life.
Fleeing war
or persecution. They often undertake traumatic and treacherous journeys of escape.
In order to find sanctuary.
By land.
By sea.
They can't return home.
It's too dangerous.
But they are entitled to special protection under international law.
Including the right not to be immediately deported and sent back into harm's way.
The bottom line is,
migrants, refugees, we are all human beings.
We need to treat all human beings, refugee or migrant,
with respect and dignity.
But meanings matter.
Words matter.
Your words matter.
Your words matter.
Your words matter.
Thank you for letting us share this information with you all. If you want to do more, here are some ways that BTA is celebrating refugees and immigrants throughout the month of May. We encourage everyone to visit the photos and read the We the People stories at the high school and the other ones which are set up at City Hall. We ask students and staff to please complete the We the People survey that was shared with you. It is voluntary and anonymous, but if you choose to participate, your answers will help us learn more about our global connections. You can also bring in items for our donation drive for refugee families. See the flyers for more information. And look for an opportunity to purchase a Stand With Ukraine bracelet so we can raise money to directly help Ukraine refugees. Finally, please consider joining BTA and be a part of celebrating diversity at our school. You can make a difference.